Hello and welcome. This is Ageless John teaching another Android Studio tutorial. Well, in this tutorial we are going to be working with a navigation drawer. Now, before we begin, I would like to point out that while my previous tutorials were very helpful and I'm actually going to base this tutorial on those two, there are significant differences. And the reason for that is because navigation drawer is a very complex and confusing subject, to put it bluntly. It shouldn't be, but it is, largely because the material out there that you're going to find is from a wide variety of dates and times, a wide variety of compatibilities, and frankly, some of the stuff out there is utter garbage and doesn't work, never did, I suspect, but I'm hoping that this tutorial will help clear some of that up. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the end-all be-all of great tutorials on navigational drawer. What I am saying is this is an idea, a concept that you can grasp and you can understand. It's just going to take some time, and so that's why I created this. It's interesting, it's cool. So this is basically the same setup we had last time, but we're going to modify it heavily in order to get this to work correctly. And one of the things that we're going to have to do is spend a lot of time. So this is going to be cut up probably into two tutorials, I'm not sure, but it probably will be. And on top of that, we're going to have to go into the Gradle and make sure your Gradle files and your libraries are set up right. Because the way I did this, one of the things that I used was this round aspect here, and that right there is a library thing, so you have to update your Gradle in your library a little bit. Anyway, so that's what we've got to look forward to. It's really cool once you get it done going. Some people really don't like the navigational drawer. Some people love it. I think it's handy. So we're going to go through it, and it's been requested by some of my users that we go through it. And having gone into it and looked in it and studied it and tried to create something that was at least a little bit understandable to the general public, I can definitely understand why somebody would want to see a tutorial on this subject, because it is so very confusing. The Android Studio site's tutorial, it doesn't stinking run on my computer. I cannot get that which I downloaded from Android Studio to run on my Android Studio. So that's a bad sign right there. So let's get into this. All right, some of the prerequisites we're going to talk about real quick, and I want to show you this Gradle file and what to install. This right here is the circle image view, and I'm using this because, well, I don't have to, but it does something that's really cool, so I decided I wanted to. And then also the support recycle view. Now, I would like this point to give credit to the material design tutorial that I used. Akash Bangad, he's a computer engineer from Maharashtra, India. I want to give a shout out to them because I used his tutorial and based what you're about to see heavily on the material that he provided. It's not perfect, but it was close enough that I could adapt it to what we needed to use. So highly suggest that you go look in the links below and go look at his stuff. He's got some really good stuff on the internet. All right, and if you go down here down at the bottom of the activity main, you'll see this layout gravity left. And this determines our right to left or left to right, because I'm working in the Americas. Most English languages, all that I know of, go from left to right. Now, if you're working with something that's Arabic or Hebrew, something that goes right to left, then you're going to need to change this. But for this tutorial, we're going to use left. The very first thing that I want to look at is your Gradle files. I want to make sure you're importing the same things that I'm using right here. And I will give you a copy and paste version of this section right here on my webpage, so that you'll be able to just copy and paste and stick it in there. And if you have this, you will be able to create the exact working copy of what we're about to work with. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to go through these files that we're going to be using here rather quickly, and I also want to go through a schematic that I made that shows all the different connections in here, and this is why it's a little confusing. So we're going to go look at main activity first, and there are a lot of notes on this. This was originally an action bar activity, but I changed it to an app compat activity, so that's why that's there. I'm getting rid of it. And all this stuff will be up on my web page after I get done publishing this. Alright, this is where we make our strings: home, events, mail, shop, travel. The app, as you will see again, will be home, events, mail, shop, and travel. And you really should go through here and read all these notes. They're pretty extensive and fairly well done. You should be able to follow the general idea, at least, of what's going on here. And you'll be able to see all the different methods and things that were being used. Again, down here, this is, of course, should look very familiar, because this is our toast when you click on the search and settings buttons. And I added another one because there's also a user being added to the settings button. So that's that. So there's the main activity. Next we're going to go to my adapter. Now my adapter is entirely new. It's heavily noted, so you should be able to follow, at least in general. My Java skills are not a best in the world, so I have trouble following some of this, but I do have an idea as to what's going on. So, but the most important thing that happens in this adapter, in my opinion, is the inflation here, where we inflate the item row and the header. That right there is the most important thing that happens in the myadapter.java. Next, look at the layouts. There's a lot of drawable material that I imported in order to get this to look beautiful. I will include those files on the website, but you will have to take each and every one of them, right click, new, image asset, then you'll have to find where you downloaded them. Make sure you change this to action bars and tab icons, and then give them the appropriate name down here. What I continually do is I forget to rename them, and they all get named icaction.name, and then I have to go back and do them over again, so be careful with that. Alright, now into the layouts. Activity main, of course, this is where our main activity occurs, and we'll see more of this when we go into the schematic, when I sketch all of this out. And then there's the header, which we already saw here over in the main adapter. There's the item row, and this is going to be the used again in the main adapter.java. We'll see that when I do the schematics. And then of course the toolbar here, which is going to be used in the activity main, and we'll see that again. Alright, so that's the basic overview. And oh, I forgot colors. We're going to be using these. Some of these I don't use. I developed background color because I wanted to be able to do this, use white. I'm not sure if I ended up using that. Color primary dark, I did use that, so I'll use that. And accent and primer, I think I used all these colors, but you can use these instead of actually hard coding this. It's kind of like the same thing as strings. You've got a centralized location where you can change all your colors very quickly. And then we have strings, and this is just a couple of strings that we're going to use. And then of course this style, which we aren't really going to do anything with. Okay, now I want to look at the schematic. First, we're going to pay attention to the main activity.java, the main menu underscore main XML. This has got the primary things in it are the action search, the action user, and the action setting, and these are used in approximately 110 to 125 for the drop down setting menu. And if you look over here, that's this and that. So that's where that comes from. Then over here in the activity underscore main XML, of course, the ID toolbar is used about line 52. On line 58, we see the recycler view being used. And then again, these are the major things: the ID toolbar, which is the layout, and the ID recycler view. Okay, now we also have the myadapter.java, which line 62 the new MyAdapter is called in the .java. Strings, line 74, open drawer, and name close drawer used for drawer toggle. You can turn to that and look at line 74 and see the open drawer drawing this information out of the strings XM. You set content view in approximately line 47 is used from the activity underscore main, and that's right there. That's what I'm talking about when I say the set content view. It's loading up the activity underscore main. All right, so let's go from the top down. Strings also uses the name, app name, and manifest. So you'll see strings, the app name being used in the manifest that comes from the string. And you see, and then toolbar XML will send the XML itself will be used in the layout as toolbar and layout toolbar. Colors XML, it has accent color is going to be used in the up here in the activity main XML. The color primary is used in the toolbar, and the color accent is used in the header.xml, so it's used in several places. Then let me see, let's go over to strings. We've already covered strings. Go here to items row. Now items row underscore row headers.xml are both used in MyAdapter. There 46, 47, you see the image view using the row icon, and on line 89 you see the layout inflator as item row. So you can turn to that and see that. And then line 53 to 55, we have the name equals text view, email, and profile. So this name, email, and profile are all going to come out of here. So that's a basic outline of the organization of this. I probably missed a couple of things, but that's the majority of it. And I'll have this as a PDF available on my website if you want to get a copy for yourself. But that's, yeah, it's a little complicated. There's a few moving parts, but the reason that I did this is because it was complicated and it was very difficult for me to visualize what was going on in my mind. So I sat down and I followed many of the pieces I could find and put them on this chart, and I hope it helps you. All right, before I close this tutorial out, we're going to cover real quick the colors, the strings, and the styles real quick. And let me see. Okay, colors. Again, these are the colors, and we use these so that we can plug them in quickly. And then strings, of course, these are your strings that we've got, and then styles, and this is the style that we created, although we didn't do a whole bunch of work here. And on the styles, see this again, colors primary, color primary dark. I'm not even sure if I put that on the, I probably didn't, because I don't think I include styles, but there's that. That's coming out of the colors. So this has been Akash John teaching the Android Studio tutorial, and in the next tutorial we're going to get into, and it's probably going to be a little bit long as well, how to do all the coding. We'll just real quickly go through that, and then I'll put it up on my website and you'll be able to play with it to your heart's content. And what I've done is I've created, using this information that I got from the guide that I mentioned earlier, and it creates a navigation drawer that comes out, and then I use Toast to show that you interact with the individual buttons, and we'll do that, and I'll put that up here after a while. All right, thank you. This is Ageless John. Don't forget to subscribe and a thumbs up, and I'll see you around.